All right. Hey, New Life, welcome to our podcast. This is maybe the one that I'm most excited about. So when we were doing our review, like, what do we talk about in our podcast? Jacob had this great idea, since we're going to talk about Advent, of taking some names of characters that are key characters in Advent, putting them in a jar, and have every person on the podcast randomly pick one out. So truth is this: nobody knows who they're going to be. There's been some fear and trepidation. I've heard 100%. Stories of people reading the Christmas story multiple times today. There are commentaries pulled up everywhere.
No shame.
I'm telling you what, just be confident in who you are. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to go around the room and we're going to pick out a character, put it on as a sticky, and then we're going to have conversations like, how would you feel before Jesus was born, but hearing about it? Or how would you feel afterwards? So you guys ready for this?
Ready.
I'm in. Okay. Who's going to go first?
Close your eyes.
Okay. Okay. I like it. We'll start here. Okay. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and pray for. Everybody's praying they don't get Herod.
I'm going to show you this. You don't know
Okay.
what you get.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We're not sharing it. Oh.
Okay.
Everyone has it.
Okay. Don't know what she.
Oh, I just looked.
Sorry, I can read through it. I know.
Upside down.
And we know this is random because the one woman in our group may or may not, probably won't get married. I can read through the back. So, all right. How are we feeling? The only relief I have in not getting married is I didn't get Herod. So, but that might have been a fun one too. Okay, the reveal.
Yep,
This may
Matt.
be the loudest podcast we'll ever
Okay,
have.
I am Herod. You know, I feel great. I feel more powerful already. Really, you know, just power. Just yeah. Okay, you're next because I'm the boss.
Okay. Liking this. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to share this for today, but I am Mary. So I was thinking about this. Like, we should have brought like some hats for the wise men.
To get into character.
And I could have brought a wig for Mary. I'm sure.
Pink shirt?
Nope, I don't. Jeff, I would never wear that shirt. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I really like that shirt. I feel like we're on another level today in the podcast. We are another level. Okay, Becca, you're up.
Absolutely. Okay. I am the shepherds.
All right.
The
Boom.
shepherds.
I like it. Okay.
Very appropriate because there's multiple people that you'll need to cover, so that's great.
Why is that appropriate, Jeff?
Well, we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
So. And so we're down to a couple. I don't know who I am yet. And of course, that makes total sense.
You too.
I'm the wise guy.
Men.
Wise men.
Sorry.
Referred to as the Magi.
Who do we got over there, Jordan? You got to use your microphone too.
Me and Troy. Troy and I here are
Jeff, do we need to switch places?
on a different level in our.
He's Joseph.
Okay.
What?
Jeff is like lost right now.
Yeah.
Mary Joseph.
What's up?
That's how we do it.
Okay, so, I mean, this is random. This is a New Life. We really are just having this conversation. So now we're going to enter into character, not going with any accents or voice inflections. We're going to talk normal, right, guys? Okay. Great.
Yes.
I am going to talk normal. Okay. And we're going to just ask the question. So what would you have felt like when you heard that the Messiah was going to be born, Herod?
Oh wow! What is it? Okay, well, on my I feel I'm scared. Really.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a little bit nervous. Like I just rule so many. I rule over so much over all of you, right?
Okay.
You guys pay taxes to me, right?
Okay.
I don't know if I do.
Well,
I'm from other lands.
Yeah, I don't know, but
think I do.
yeah, and then
I
but
shepherd.
you two, yeah,
Cash only business.
cash only
True.
business.
Small business.
So I feel
business
scared. I feel nervous. I feel like this huge talk of this person and my power might get taken. So that's a little scary to me. And so I think that's why in this story I will implement these things of making you go home to your place and then like killing all the children and all that stuff. So we'll to come in the story, but I'm seeing visions here of the future. No, but yeah, scared. I think scared and afraid of my power is going to go away, and so makes me nervous. What about the shepherds? How do you feel? You just heard Jesus is
Yeah.
going to be born.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that I heard about Jesus. Maybe he was born already, Was he born already when I heard, I think?
Yes.
Yes.
he
So
was.
I kind of I was late in the game to get the news, but I was just in a region near Bethlehem, and I was just shepherding, doing what shepherds do, watching my flock by night, and all of a sudden a star, an angel, no funny inflections, I came to an angel, came into my field and told me about Jesus. And so obviously I was very terrified. Things like that don't really happen to us in our field while we're tending to our
feel
flock.
you.
You know what I mean? It was just like an everyday normal day.
I feel you.
And then an angel appeared like that. And it was scary. I was terrified. But I mean, after we had a conversation, we got to know each other. It was okay because he told us about Jesus. And then I was excited to go and see.
But then didn't like thousands of them show up all of a sudden?
Yeah,
That
eventually.
was kind of freakish.
Oh. Yeah, freakish. Yeah. So yes. And I thought you meant later on lots of people heard about the birth of Jesus because the shepherds told them,
Which is true.
which is true.
That is true. Well, no, the one dude that showed up
Yeah.
and scared you, then a whole bunch of them showed up, and
Yeah.
that's a little horrifying, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
As many as sheep, there were angels.
Thank you, Yoda.
That was you.
Okay, what about you?
Yes.
You,
So,
man.
speaking of being late in the game, I was even later. Actually, I was a couple, 2 or 3 years later. So this star shows up, and I got a couple of buddies and said, "I think we're supposed to follow this." And so we kind of took off and just kept following it and knowing that that's what we were called to do. And then all of a sudden it leads us to the spot, which was a strange journey, but that took us right to it. Now we did get called into Herod too, and you remember?
I called you in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember what I said?
That was pretty crazy. You said, "Hey, I want to worship this cat too."
Yeah. I was like, this is. Yeah.
Yes.
But it was.
I
It was
just went into Jordan there for just a second. So, I know. Jordan, I don't know who's. So, you called me in and it was like, "Hey, I want to worship him too." And we're like, "That's what we're here to do." And then we took off and found him,
said,
and
"Go find
then
him." Yeah.
realized, I don't think your...
So I tried to trick you.
Yes,
right?
your agenda was not wholesome.
It's typical what I like to do. Yeah, what I like to do is trick people.
And you were very secretive about it, too.
I was. Yeah,
You
I was
called
like,
us in, you're like, "Hey,
"Go,
hush,
I want to
hush."
worship this baby. Yeah, be quiet.
Yep.
Ride in slow. Ride
Yep.
in no donkeys, just feet. You know what I'm saying? Just real quiet and.
Yes. And so, that's,
Then you
that's
found
the way.
out.
That's
Yeah.
the way we headed in.
Yeah.
So, Joseph
Yeah, I mean, I was.
shakes his head.
Yeah, I was tripping for.
Yeah, here we need Mary needs the mic. Yeah.
You're the new dad.
I was, I would to be okay. So let's just start from the beginning because I was tripping at first. You know what I'm saying? Like I was about to be like, listen, hold up, Mary. This just, you know what I'm saying? Like this isn't how we do things. What's going on? What do you mean? But then, I'm listening to the shepherds over here talk about the angel stories, and I'm like, I get that. Had to have a real heart-to-heart to really change my perspective, or else Mary was going to be toast. Because I had never seen anything like this ever. And that was the beginning. Then come to realize... wow, we, literally Mary gave birth to Jesus. And then, who knows what I'm up to at this moment. It's true. So I'm chilling.
But it was pretty convincing. I mean, you were ready to kiss Mary goodbye.
I was, and I, really feeling that tension, which is why I needed that breakthrough. I had zero faith. Not that it's communicated like that, but I really, I wasn't having it. But who would? Let's just be honest. Yeah. Hi, I have conceived a child. What you mean? Because, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So yes, I was about to kiss her goodbye without a kiss.
Yes.
But I can let her share some of that.
But that angel was pretty convincing to you, I bet.
Had to be. Had to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
Because I didn't. So there you go.
Let's hear from your lovely wife.
Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, you did put a little accent in there. That was against the rules. but-
Thanksgiving
Sorry.
Texas
we're just going
leftovers.
straight
I'm
in.
just a shepherd. I don't know much.
Okay. I
only
like
know
that.
sheep.
I like
That's
that. So, adding on to you, Joseph.
Yes.
I mean, for me, if being the character of Mary, it would have been like obviously astounding to hear from the angel that I was pregnant with the Messiah. And knowing that you were a just man, a good guy, I am thinking I was madly in love with you and worried sick about you and how you would feel and that you wouldn't believe me. And so having the conversation of what I had heard from the angel, I would have been like super blown away. And it wouldn't have been good news maybe for me yet, because I had only envisioned a life together with you and you having your carpentry business and being, where we were and maybe building our first little home and life and kids and all of that. And then like this Messiah, well, who is a Messiah? What does it mean? What does it feel like to carry the Messiah? What does it feel like to even have a kid? All these things are massive. And then my body would be changing. I would be feeling like growth. And so then it's like, I can talk to my aunt, I can talk to, others about what it's like to have a baby, but a Messiah, perfect. Somebody, how is that going to be? How is it going to change our future? So, I mean, for me, it was like every day was anxious because it was something new.
And you were 13 years old.
I'm not sure that I can remember my exact age, but you're probably right about that. I mean, I was definitely young.
So very young. And
Yeah.
Did it ever come across to you, being a good Jewish girl, did the psalm ever come through your mind like he's knitted together this even though you don't know where it came from?
Potentially, I know I couldn't read. I know I would only have been I would have heard it at, going to the synagogue, but I don't know how well versed I would have been there. Maybe others, maybe when I went to see Elizabeth and Zechariah, they would have told me more about it, and that would have been a learning experience. But man, I think in the beginning it would have been like super difficult, and it wouldn't have been like, wow, great news. At the same time, there is the point where Mary's prayer comes out, and she knows she's favored. And so there's a shift that happens. And maybe that's a little bit like us. You get news, you get something that's like different, life is going to change, and then you start to get used to it and a new normal comes, and you can look forward to it. So I think where I'd love for us to go from here is on a serious note, like let's talk about how Jesus changed our lives. As a character. Yeah, as a character. How did Jesus change our lives? And I think I'm going to hold Herod for the middle, like in the middle of this, because I'm thinking that you have a different story than we do. So let's go in the middle. We'll kind of sandwich it with some good. So let's just go to the shepherds. How do you think you changed your life?
Yeah, so when we went to go see Jesus, it's weird because I don't think that's what we were expecting. When we had heard about a Messiah coming, we had thought of, I don't know, maybe some something magical or something that was just better than a baby, I was a baby once, so to think about the king of the world coming just like I did, to me that it didn't really make sense. But what I loved about when we were at the stable was yes, the wise men got to go later, but I felt really honored because I was really common, like all we did was we got up every day and we did our work, and that was our family business, and we just kept on doing what we did. So why, of all the people, did we get called to go look and be in the presence of Jesus from the very first minutes of his life? I don't know. I feel really honored. And so from that point on, everything for me changed. Me and all the other shepherds went and told everybody else in the town, and everyone was really amazed at that point from what they had heard. And it was an honor to be there and an honor to share it as well. And then also knowing that you guys got to go later, it's like you guys were important, and like we weren't. So the fact that we got to go was cool.
Yeah.
Amen.
That is cool.
Yeah, sure. So I think the weight of the time felt even heavier when Herod called us in and was like, okay, this is kind of a big deal. So we kind of knew at that point something was happening. But as we were able to finally meet the Messiah, we knew that our best response, even though he was probably a couple of years old by then, is that the way others understood it? So, is we knew that our only response was to worship. And so we didn't know exactly what that meant, and and our gifts were incredibly symbolic, and I'm not sure if we knew what those meant even when we were giving them, but they certainly were precious from the gold aspect. The frankincense and the myrrh and different things were used actually in burial. We didn't know at that point, but later I think we probably got to hear the story, and I hope as a wise man, the reaction would continue to be worship and awe that we were called in to be a part of that story. So that's probably where we went with that.
You want Herod to step in here? Yeah. I'll step in here as leader of this crew. But okay, okay.
I didn't live in your region.
Okay, no, I'm kidding. So for me, it was huge. How did it change? Is that the question? How did it change? So I went from maybe a little bit of fear and anxiety to I would say a little bit of anger. Just in the sense that I so badly didn't want my power to go away, and I was so afraid that what I had was going to be taken away by this child, which is crazy. And so I went out and tried to kill everyone, all the little babies that were 2 and under, and because that's what how old I thought the Messiah was. And so, I put out this decree to kill all the babies. And I think it was even stepping out of Herod. I think that was even a prophecy fulfilled in the scripture. And so just knowing that I was going to act that crazy was quoted earlier in time. And so that was just another crazy feature of the story, I think, in general. But I think I turned from just fear to anger, which a lot of times we do. We get so afraid that we just get angry and we just lash out at anything we can. I don't know much more of my history, but I think that's where I kind of fall off the platter here. Mm-hmm. Yep, I fall off the platter.
You do die.
I do die.
You do die.
I do die. How do I die?
Oh, I actually don't know how you die, but you do die, and then they get to come out of hiding. Jesus hid until you died.
That's right. I do. Okay, yeah. So I'm dead.
Remember that? When he died, and then you headed back to town.
We headed back.
Yeah, you guys hid from me, and I was trying to find you.
We left for a little while.
Yeah, how'd that?
We left for a little while. Didn't the angel tell us?
Yeah.
To dip out.
I was coming
because you were coming,
yeah.
and we
you
left.
guys also didn't go back to Herod either.
We avoided him,
Everyone's
absolutely.
scared of me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He was still alive, though.
Right, you're
So
right. Yeah.
we just avoided him.
Right.
An angel
So
talked to
how
us
did
and said,
you feel after?
Oh,
that?
I think a lot of. I think I probably felt so many things. I think of a few words. My perspective would have absolutely shifted, and I think a bit. I don't know a better word for this, but I think about taking greater ownership over what was entrusted. In the beginning, it's kind of like, how do I? It's enough just for me to believe that, this is actually happening. But then, like in moments like when you came for us, right? Imagine though, it's like you got to have a level of faith, ownership, and belief to want to like lead your family and still say that this is my child. You know what I mean? Which that dynamic it was, and probably I imagine very difficult to maneuver through. But I think that there was that process that really took place. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak.
Do you think that Jesus needed a father?
Say it again.
Did Jesus need father?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
The father being father?
Yes. Yeah, he did, actually.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, he did.
He took on humanity, and he
Yeah.
increased in wisdom, stature, favor with God, and favor with man, man and God. Yeah.
I think he did, 100%.
Yeah.
Great question, though, because that's
Yeah.
a lot of people don't ask that.
Yeah.
And your humility is amazing.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
But but it
Can you
is-
explain why?
Yes, because you led this family,
Right.
and get very little credit.
Right. It's why. It's just why, I just feel like I don't know much about myself.
Well, you're not really mentioned a whole bunch.
That's what I'm saying.
Later on, and you're even not. You're gone already by the time Jesus died.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you use your imagination to
I see.
imagine what kind of stance I had to take. You know what I mean? To like really wrap my whole belief around. That dynamic is just mind blowing. I would know.
Well, I think from Mary's perspective, I'll just talk to you,
Right.
as a Joseph. But the last time you are mentioned is really at the temple when Jesus was probably 12,
Right.
And we know that Jesus was already astounding and impressing people with his knowledge, and so certainly you probably. You poured into him as a carpenter, as a person, teaching him some things from the fact that he took on humanity. Of course, he knew all things as God, and so there was a part of it where you weren't going to teach him anything about his father, and he was probably going to teach you even about his father. And I would guess that really impressed on you for however long you lived. And for Mary, from my perspective, if I would be able to speak for Mary, you've got the love of a mom and her son, and you've got a period of time that we don't know much about. And then when Jesus comes out into his ministry, there's an incredible love just because of that first miracle at Cana when he turned the water into wine. And I asked him, can you, Jesus, do this for us? Because we really need a favor right now. And he did it. And just following him, sometimes from afar, sometimes close, seeing the miracles and his teaching. But the game changer for me would have been obviously at the cross. And like every possible hope was gone. And then going from the very bottom to that tomb and seeing that empty tomb. And then knowing that Jesus rose and seeing the risen Savior. It's amazing. And that's the story. And it's like, man, one of the things I'm excited for, because we have very limited knowledge, as you can tell, on this. But we will spend an eternity having conversations with great food around a table or in a comfortable place, and we'll hear the story firsthand. We'll be like, Joseph, what was it like? What did you think about wise men? Let's talk to the wise men, the shepherds. We will, for eternity, and really the only person that I don't believe we will be able to talk with is Herod. So
Good to see you guys.
yeah, and which is sobering. It's sobering, right? And that's part of the reason why we're here, and we're here as a church, and we want to give hope. And so, I hope you enjoyed our fun little podcast. I don't know if you
we
guys
tried.
we're going to go for it, right? I mean, that's the new life way. It's like, let's try something new.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. And I had this thought, this would be fun as a family to do. So maybe we'll do that. Grab some characters, throw it in, and just play with this. You guys might want to do that during the Advent season. Grab a few friends, maybe a connect group or something. Try your game at it. See how well you do. If you get Herod or the wise men or Joseph or the shepherds, or you can add characters.
The donkeys.
And there you go.
I think it could be a good way to learn more about the story too. Like if you we came in a little ill prepared, but if you if you pre planned it, then you could let people know what characters you're trying to do, and you could really study the character where you could know more about a little more in depth about Herod or Joseph or Mary, which could give a whole new perspective.
Yeah.
So.
Two things I have for the end. One, if you made it this far, thank you for hanging on with us. We love you a ton for that. And know that we have services at 8, 9:15, and 10:45. We also are going to have a Christmas Eve service online for everybody to watch. More details coming on that. And so we hope you get to be involved in that. Follow our Facebook and Instagram page. Every day we have a new word for Advent, New Life City Church. You can find each of those. And I'm super glad that you were able to join with us. And so thank you guys for the great time. And thank you that we get to hang out.
Yeah.
Woo.
Thanks. Merry Christmas.
Boom.
Yucky.